tell you what, this camera's gonna be the death of me. I can't tell if I'm even in clear. It's fucked up. If it's not clear, it's gonna bum me out when I go to look at it. Okay, we're just gonna trust it. All right. Well, it is. Let's see. It's 11 o'clock, and Rich just rolled out of here. He took off across the creek about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and there's a little knoll as you come through the trees where he did not want to come down in the first place. He had an issue with, there was a tree that was in the way, and if we cut that tree out of the way, then it would open it up for everybody. And I could not absolutely 100% agree with him more. Unfortunately, though, for me, I'm still kind of lazy-minded, and I didn't encourage him, but I kind of, you know, I made my point clear that I would prefer it if he come across. So he did. You know, and ultimately that's his choice, but we did do something against his wishes. And so when I sent him back across the creek, said our goodbyes, love you, man, see you, thank you, you're the fucking man, and he got stuck across the creek. So we spent the last 2 hours digging and jacking it up and trying to get him unhigh-centered, and then we went down to the camp where the other guys were, and they cruised over and tugged us out with a Jeep. So all is well. It's hotter than hell. This fire is just blazing hot. But I just wanted to kind of ramble for a few minutes about Rich and about just how good of a friend he's been. I mean, I've known this guy for 20-some years. I could literally count 100 different instances where he's saved my life, or he's come to my rescue, or he's offered help, or he's helped, or he's given me money when he knew he'd never get it back, or he, you know, bought into some pipe dream of mine, and I can honestly say, you know, he loaned me $5,000, or gave me $5,000 about 5 years ago, and he admitted a year or two later that he gave it to me knowing that he'd never see it again, knowing that it wouldn't benefit me in any way, shape, or form. It wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't accomplish anything, but I asked for it, and I gave a good enough reason, and he had it to give, so he gave it. And, you know, I mean, to give somebody your time, or your this, or your that, that's one thing, but when you get into the thousands of dollars, he gave me $5,000. I mean, that's, you know, it's a month or two, or, you know, that's a lot of work. And especially the work that he's doing right now, he's back to doing hard work, and you know, not that his work before wasn't hard, but, you know, he's pounding nails, and he's working hard for his dollars, and, you know, to give a guy that kind of money, and even know that you're not going to get it back, that's just fucking, I mean, that's the epitome of being a friend, and that's the epitome of being there for somebody. And he's made a couple of comments in the last couple of months about if we're not friends, or if we don't, you know, if we're not buddies for the rest of our lives. And I kind of point blanked him today and asked him, what do you mean by that? And I think the bottom line is his helping of me is expiring. And this trip and this journey, it's right up his alley, and he's willing to help, and he wants to, and he enjoys it, but he in no way, shape, or form ever wants to be taken for granted, and ever wants to be taken advantage of. So, you know, it's just, honestly, a guy like Rich reminds me of who I'm not, and not in a negative, sad way. It reminds me of the kind of guy that I want to be. And over the years, I've found fault with Rich. Rich has made mistakes. He's, you know, done some stupid shit in his day too. And I can honestly tell you that I remember those things. You know, I mean, I still to this minute could rattle them off. And for a guy like that to have done things for me and been shit on by me or taken advantage of or have his friendship taken for granted, he wouldn't remember one of the things that I ever did to him. Because he's put him out of his life, he's put him out of his mind. And I'm still hung up on negative things, and I still do not genuinely see the good in people. And not only that, but dude, I'm a shitty, irresponsible, disrespectful, using, manipulative, lying, conniving, cheating, you know, fucking just not good friend. And a guy like Rich reminds me of how good of a friend he is and how good of a friend I want to be. And I'm in no way, shape, or form out here trying to impress him, but it means a lot to me what he thinks about my camp, or what he thinks about what I'm doing, or does he think I'm, you know, getting stronger by taking this and being able to make it through this and taking on this challenge. And you know, to a certain extent, Rich gets it, but on the other side of the coin, this is just another crazy fucking thing that Dave's went and done. And I've done 100 of these things, and they don't realize, and Rich doesn't realize, and my family doesn't realize that I've never done this one. I've never done anything like this. I've never done anything to where I had to work, where I had to pay my dues, where I had to fight to survive, where I had to face myself, where I had to face the dark, where I had to face the fear, where I had to face the scared that's in my soul. Every other crazy thing I've ever done kept me from doing those things. Made it easier on me. Made it to where it was somebody else's issue or burden or problem or whatever. Or, you know, I took something for granted and used and manipulated something so I could do something crazy. And all the while, every step of the way, whether it was the bar or whether it was when I borrowed the money from Rich or whether it was this or whether it was that, I always knew in the back of my mind that those things would never work. That I wasn't ready, that I didn't care, that I didn't appreciate it, that I didn't respect it enough to work my ass off, because I wasn't working my ass off and getting those things because I wanted those things for my family and to better my life. I was doing those things and getting those things because I wanted people to like me. And I wanted to be the tough guy, and I wanted to be Moneybags, and I wanted to be fucking, you know, Dave the bar owner, or whatever the case may be. And I've always been a spoiled little arrogant fuck, and I find myself at a place now where, dude, I wish I wrote the song, but I want to be a good man, a do as I should man, a fucking, you know, learn from my mistakes, try again man, and I just want to be a good man. And my father was a good man, but it took every bit of energy it took to be a good man to where he could never be a good dad, and a good father, and a good fucking husband, and a good whatever. And I in no way, shape, or form am even opinionating about myself. That's just a fact. At the end of the day, my dad had such a hard time just getting through it like I do, that he didn't have enough love for himself. That he didn't have enough pride and humility and responsibility and whatever for himself as a person. He was always doing things for other people as well. And my father, above anybody, including myself, he wanted people to love him. He wanted people to like him. And that's what motivated him, and that's what drove him through his life. And I'm here to tell you, for me, for him, it didn't work. Now, I don't know if that means it doesn't work, but for us, it didn't work. And everything I've ever done in my life has been for attention, or for validation, or for love. You know, one of my songs, I lie to get attention. I steal so I get caught. When I run away, I wanted to be chased. It's validation that I saw it. And that's the truth. Every move I've ever made in my life was so somebody would like me, so somebody would love me. And you know what? I did not really realize that I could love myself, and that was enough to get you through the day. And that being okay with who you are and how you are, it's like Rich. I mean, I know, you know, I remember him just a couple months ago went out and spent, you know, $1,500 or whatever on tires. And I remember thinking to myself, dude, you can get some fucking cheaper tires, man. There's some different tires out there for you. But in Rich's world, Rich buys the right things first. He buys good stuff first. He takes care of his shit. He puts a value on it, and he pays the price. And in turn, he ends up with quality shit. He takes care of his shit. He can feel good about his shit. And he's not out there scheming or, you know, trying to save a buck here or there. because he's learned the hard way that saving a buck here or there could cost you. And if he would have had shitty tires, we might not have got out as easy as we just did, you know. So I just realize more and more as I'm out here that I've really opinionated myself about everybody. I've had an opinion because I was guilty or because I was not doing something in my life. I opinionated myself about them, and my opinions that I had about them were accurate. You know, when I said something about this or that or this person, they were true and they were accurate. But there's no way that my mind should have been spending any time on that subject. I should have been loving people and supporting and encouraging and being the kind of friend that my buddy Rich is. And I tell you what, man, that guy, he's just a man. He's just a downright good man. He's got quirks like everybody else. He's got things that drive me nuts. I got things that drive him nuts. We all do. But at the end of the day, that fucker, he's just straight up the shit. He's just a good person. So, I kind of thought in the back of my mind he might show up today, or this weekend. But honestly, I think I thought more that he would want to fuck with me and make me wait. And that right there goes to show you what my opinion of people are in my head. My opinion of Rich is that he would be more apt to fuck with me and make me sit out here for an extra week or two. And he didn't. And I knew he wouldn't. But my mind went to the place that he's a bad person, or he's gonna this, or he's gonna that, or he's gonna fuck with me, or he's gonna this, and he's gonna that. And that's not the case. That's not who he is. That fucker, I guarantee you, man, every night before he goes to bed, he says a little prayer. He's not a praying man, but he thinks about me. He sends me some good wishes. And he couldn't live with himself if he didn't come out here and see how I was doing. And I'm glad he came the day he did. I'm glad he came at the time that he did. Everything happened great because, you know, I'm not out here taking over the world and fucking, you know, Super Dave, but he sees that I've settled in. He sees in my face my smile and my exuberance for what it is that I'm doing. And I'm glad that, one, I'm glad I feel that way genuinely. And two, I'm glad that he got to see that. Because now he knows Dave's just out here working on something. You know, he doesn't have to worry anymore about Dave. Is he going to mentally make it through this? Is he tough enough to get through the nights and the dark and the scared and the lonely and the fear and the whatever? And this was good for both of us. It was good for me to realize that there's still civilization out there. I know he loves me. I know he cares about me, or he wouldn't have came out today. And it's good for him to know that I'm okay. And I think he knows now that I'm okay. And now, from now on, the trips are just going to be, what's up? You know, they're not going to be deep. They're not going to be all crazy. They're just going to be getting some wood and eating some steaks and fucking going about our lives. And I'm not doing this to try to earn his respect, but I hope along the way, after this is done, and after I go back into the world and pick and start doing what it is that I decide to believe in, I hope that someday I can have his respect, and I hope that I've earned it. But this won't earn me his respect. This will earn me his respect to a certain degree, but this won't earn me the big-time respect. The big-time respect that I will earn from Rich is by living my life, and by being a better person, and by being there for people like he has for me, and for not being so high maintenance and needy and quick to fucking use somebody else or rely on somebody else, or, you know. So I couldn't be happier right now. I love him with all my heart. I mean, I love that man like he's my brother, like he's my father right now. And I have no problem putting him a notch, a generation above me, because right now that's where he belongs. He's the guy who can come out here and help me. And I'm the guy who needs his help. And I'm the guy who, realistically speaking, can't do it on his own. And for me to have a guy like him, it's just awesome. And it warrants justifies me never forgetting that and never taking him for granted again. And next time I fucking help him unload 15 arborvitaes, I'm gonna be there the next day at 7:30 in the morning to fucking dig holes. And if he ain't ready and he don't want to do it, I'll do it myself. And if he don't want me to do it myself, I'll go home and I'll come back the next day at 7:30. And I'll just be like, dude, I gotta dig. How do I not help you? So I love him with all my heart. So, as you can tell, it's raining. And my big old wood pile right there is getting wet, but it should be alright. I'm going to get up tomorrow. I'm going to go into the tent tonight and move all my video around because I've got all sorts of power again. I'm going to move all my video around and do everything I need to do. And get to bed, watch some video, get to bed, and get up tomorrow morning and split all that fucking wood. Get it all stacked up and get it all sexy. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down right now and drink this cocoa and smoke a little weed. Actually, maybe I'll just let it run and say a few more words here. Oh, and he's grabbing me all my stuff to do in the bathtub. So I'm digging on that. Check this video, make sure everything's still working out right and doing what it should be doing. Alright. I wanna be a good man. Do as I should. Got 12 packs of cigarettes. Now, technically speaking, that's about 8 days. I'm up to 2 packs a day, pack and a half, 2 packs. And I have to quit smoking. It's just going to kill me. And as hard as I'm working out here to try to save my fucking life, and try to make my life worth living, I absolutely want to live now. And when I make it through this, I genuinely want to live, and I want kids, and I want a wife, and I want to be happy. And it's just stupid to want all those things and smoke something every day that's going to kill you. It's not a matter of could it kill you or it might kill you, it will kill you. And there's my fucking mouse. And I gotta quit smoking. I just have to. Honestly, pot, I might even fucking keep smoking some of that. But the smokes are just fucking killing me. That's that tree we dropped today. That tree was standing this afternoon. And Rich's fucking really keen eye scoped out a tree that we could fall to the ground, cut up. It was dead already. I mean, it had been dead for probably a couple of years. But just because of the way that it died and the way that it was still standing and the bark on it or not on it, you know, Rich knew which one to cut. And that fucking wood right there is, you know, I mean, that's fucking badass firewood right there. So, yeah, he's just so he left with a list of groceries and a list of, parts to grab me for the hot water heater. Charged up all my batteries. My camera, my fucking, I mean, everything is fully charged, ready to rock and roll. So, we're gonna go back in the tent tonight and move all the video over. And I haven't been able to move video in 3 days. So I think I've got like 18 hours worth of video on the camera right now. We'll get all that moved over. It'll probably take a couple of hours. And I got to go through, put them into individual days, title them, good morning, good night stuff. So I've got some work to do. And it's 11:30. I'll probably be up till 1 or 2. And hopefully get up tomorrow by 9. And get all that wood split and get it all stacked. That's the plan. I've smoked cigarettes and I've smoked pot for so long, since I was probably 10 years old, that I just think it does something for me. And my mind knows that it doesn't, but my heart is still used to doing it all the time. So I think I'm just, it's a mental battle. It's overcoming that. And I'll tell you what, it may not be relative, but I've been able to overcome darkness. I've been able to overcome fear. I've been able to overcome, this. And, okay, I mean, there might be a couple more campers 500 yards that way. But fucking town is 50 miles that way. And the nearest store is 28 miles that way. So, I'm in no way, shape, or form in a city park here. I am as in the wilderness as you can get. It just happens to be that there's another person camping in the wilderness. So, I've been able to overcome everything. I've been able to make it this far. The next step, the next hard things are just boredom and things like that. But those things don't concern me because I've got work to do. There's always going to be a project. There's always going to be something I can build. I can build some cabinets. I can always build something. So, and I'm thinking there's a chance some of this wood is dry enough so I could probably split it up into, 3/4 inch, half-inch pieces. Probably do some decent work of making something with them. So, we've always got the video. We've always got the music, we've always got the writing, so I don't think boredom's going to be a problem. I think the hardest thing for me is going to be staying focused. I can never forget that when I walk out of here, I got to have a direction, and I got to know where I'm going, and I got to know what I'm doing. So, when it's all said and done, in a couple of days, the work is going to start up. The actual work. Sitting down to finish my book, sitting down and keeping on top of these videos and making sure that everything's organized. And, at a later date, if I so choose, I can show them to somebody and maybe sell something. Or maybe have it turned into an actual movie, or have it turned into just a big ass long streaming internet documentary or something. So there's a lot of things that can be done with it. Tell you what, that tree was standing up in the air. I would have never thought that you could fall a tree and burn it that night. And this wood wasn't even dry. This wood was sitting out in the rain 10 minutes ago. So, which is the story. I love him to death. put something in my book the other day about writing a song that the mind likes to hear things twice, but not 3 times. I wanna be a good man, be like a should man, the kind of man a mirror likes to see. I wanna be, and then it goes into something else. It establishes its point, hits in your head, and then it moves on to the next bigger and better subject. I like that shit. Run and hide from what's inside. This isn't right. Like that one. That fire is amazing. Alright, well, I think I'm going to start moving stuff indoors. Start moving over video and getting all situated. And it takes a couple hours to get that video moving. And right now, I've actually enjoyed that couple hours of just sitting in the tank. So I'm going to start moving shop outside. And we'll shut her down. Check in one more time before it gets bad. You wanna be a good man, be like a sugar man. Alright, for now we will shut her down.